I've been pretty nervous about the state of the Tales of series in recent years. Following the success of Tales of Arise, there wasn't much momentum. Sure, there was a story expansion that came and went, but following that release, Tales of the Rays got shut down and Tales of Symphonia got a mismanaged remaster. Plus, most of the franchise is still stuck on older hardware. So, the announcement of the Tales of series 30th anniversary remastered project, which is a plan to revive older titles and make them playable on modern platforms, got me incredibly excited, and the debut of this project has arrived in the form of Tales of Grace's F Remastered. Originally a Wii exclusive in Japan in 2009, it received an enhanced PS3 port that has now made its way to modern platforms. I actually grew up with Tales of Grace's F in my early teens, and I've been thrilled to rediscover its charm as one of the best entries in the series to date.
So it's over?
Not enough. Really? Are you still berserking out?
You're darn tootin'. I could have kept going for hours. Pascal's a girl, Captain. Girls don't go berserking out. But it wasn't enough. I need more. Okay, enough. Just calm down and I'll cook you a banana pie. Yay! Wow. Don't copy her, Sophie.
Tales of Grace's F Remastered follows Asbel Lant, first in his childhood and then during his young adult years. After a tragedy in his boyhood days forces him to flee his home and train to become a knight, 7 years have passed, but his relationships with his friends Sharia and brother Hubert suffer as a result. Meanwhile, a peculiar darkness surrounds his ally and ruler, Richard, which drastically affects the world and sparks a journey of self-discovery and hidden truths. The first half of Tales of Graces focuses on Asbel trying to mend the scars of time and find his place in the world. There's a sense of loneliness and isolation here that works surprisingly well, showing how you can escape time. As a result, Asbel's struggle feels both believable and compelling, making him one of the best protagonists in the series. The rest of the cast is also handled well, with each party member facing their own conflicts that clash with old convictions, memories, or beliefs. It's rare for an entire playable cast in a Tales game to be so well written, but Graces reaches that level. Tales of Graces has, without exaggeration, one of the best groups of main characters in the franchise. This strength is highlighted by skits, which is a recurring feature in Tales games that offer character banter on anything from major story events to random topics. The writing's humor is usually on point, making the sketches worth seeking out. And despite being nearly 15 years old, the English voice direction still shines, with plenty of personality in each line, at least among the core cast. The Tales of series can be hit or miss with its overarching narratives, but I don't think that's the case here. While the character relationships and skits clearly take the spotlight, the plot manages to keep the stakes tense with well-integrated objectives that don't fade into the background. Even though there aren't that many major locations, each new area has plenty of important developments that tie into the party's overall goals. Two of the biggest highlights that shape Tales of Graces are its childhood prologue and the lengthy epilogue, Lineage and Legacies. The prologue, which lasts for several hours, does a great job setting the stage for the story and combat basics. Meanwhile, the Lineage and Legacies campaign is also substantial, offering excellent closure to relationships and story threads. What also helps is that Tales of Graces F Remastered is a masterful action RPG, near the top of the franchise's best if I'm going to be honest. Each character has two types of special moves in combat, A arts and B arts. Their usage depends on the character. For example, Asbel's A arts involve his sword while it's sheathed, while B arts use the sword openly. These moves use a chain capacity, or the CC gauge, that refills over time and through actions like dodging attacks at the right moment. Even with the CC gauge, each battle is pretty fast, and even mages rely on quick reflexes to maximize casting speeds. Plus, the 360-degree movements that's sometimes missing in other Tales games adds depth, letting you control enemy AI positioning to your advantage. Aside from boss encounters, normal fights can end in under a minute, and the quick loading times keep everything moving. It's rare for me to enjoy playing as every character in a Tales game, but Graces is one of the few where that's true. I mostly avoided using Sharia as the main healer since the role can feel high pressure, but everyone else is easy to pick up. That said, while playing on Evil and Chaos difficulties, it can be a time sink when trying to master each character's quirks. It is possible to set art shortcuts with the joystick and adjust each party member's AI strategies, so customizing your approach is rather straightforward. I also love the deep customization. Dualizing is considered this game's crafting system where you can combine two items to form a better one. You can continuously upgrade weapons and armor with enemy shards that boost certain stats. It's addictive and allows for many possible builds. You can also create entirely new equipment by dualizing. and this same feature even covers cooking. It's also possible to dualize materials into items to sell for profit. It's all easy to learn, but can keep dedicated players busy for hours, making it worthwhile for anyone who spends time in these menus. Another standout mechanic is the Elith mixer, which can suit different playstyles. You can slot it in particularly anything: items to duplicate, dishes to cook without ingredients, or special books that grant effects like higher movement speeds or stronger combat stats. The more you use the mixer, the more it expands, so you're always encouraged to keep tinkering. Combined with dualizing, Tales of Graces F offers many layers of player freedom. The sense of growth in Tales of Graces F is downright excellent, thanks in part to the title system. Each title has 5 learnable traits that provide perks like higher stats, new arts, or even costumes. It's a constant source of improvement. When it comes to exploration, Graces features linear filled areas and a few dozen dungeons with puzzles. These older style levels require some thought, which is a nice contrast to the more straightforward linearity of Tales of Arise. Even though destination icons now exist, they don't solve every puzzle, and complexity ramps up later on in the game. This remastered release also offers new features for players, like story destination icons and a dash to speed things up on foot. There are also now subtitles for post-battle dialogue, which helps you catch those fun exchanges. Still, some parts feel a bit old-fashioned. For example, some skits and optional events only appear if you backtrack in ways the game doesn't clearly explain, like revisiting an old save point or a specific area. It's easy to miss a bunch of skits and side events this way, and you don't get the ability to freely fast travel until late in the story. On the bright side, mandatory backtracking is usually brief and not too annoying. Like most Tales games, Graces is stuffed with side quests and rewards that are often worth it, some including new titles. There are also bigger challenges like the Coliseum and the post-game dungeon, which push the combat skills to the limit. Add in a new game plus, and there's a ton of content, especially if you want to beat story bosses in under a minute for achievements. From the start, Tales of Graces F Remastered offers a variety of bonuses in the pause menu, but I'd recommend ignoring them because they give you too many perks. A more welcomed addition is the newly dubbed English skits, which were not in the old Western PS3 release. The original voice cast has returned, except for Laura Bailey as Sharia, now voiced by Alexis Tipton. Fortunately, I felt she did a fantastic job matching Laura Bailey's portrayal, so it actually didn't come off as jarring.
For eating? Not today, Sophie. These beans are to drive out the demons and help to call in good luck. And demons are bad?
Oh yeah, they're the worst.
On PS5, Tales of Graces F Remastered runs perfectly with no issues that I could see. I hope that the Switch version holds up as well so we don't have another Tales of Symphonia scenario. The original Tales of Graces was already a must-play action RPG, and Tales of Graces F Remastered reaffirms why it's one of my favorites of all time. Between its skillful gameplay systems, meaningful character growth, and heartfelt core story, it stands as one of the best aged RPGs from the past decade. Sprinkle in new features that streamline progression, and you have a gem now available on more platforms than ever. Whether you're a longtime Tales fan or just love JRPGs, Tales of Graces F Remastered is something special. If you enjoy this genre, it's a must-play and a wonderful way to start the new year. Noisy Pixel is giving Tales of Graces F Remastered a 9.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. This video is brought to you by our supporters on Patreon. Noisy Pixel is run by a group of gamers providing independent gaming coverage through news, reviews, previews, and more. Check out our Patreon to help support our continued growth, and subscribe to keep up with all our future content.
Noisy Pixel.